It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Listen In with KNN, presented by Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM and 96.9 FM. I'm your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Thank you for bearing with us. We had brief delays, but you guys know this is the technical digital age in COVID-19. But nonetheless, have a very exciting show for you all with a very exciting and special guest. I've known him for some years now. He does such amazing things and truly a true connector between sports, marketing, business, and everything else. So excited to speak with him. He goes none other by the name than Todd Schweich. He is the CEO of Game Changers Corp. He's an entrepreneur, a connector, and a leader. But before I bring Todd on, I want to give a special congratulations to Nick Nurse, Toronto Raptors' very own, for winning the NBA's 2020 to 2019 Coach of the Year. Of course, he led the Raptors to their best win percentage in franchise history. Oh, and last year, we know what the Raptors did, became NBA champions, a true success story. Very well deserved. So I want to give a special congratulations to him. So without further ado, now we're going to talk business, we're going to talk sports, and so much more. And I am going to welcome in now Mr. Todd Schweich. Todd, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you, Kelsey?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me. First off, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm loving Scottsdale. I relocated from Schaumburg, Illinois, right outside of Chicago on July 5th. And actually arrived here on July 5th. So
yeah, new Arizona resident. So exciting. So exciting. Scottsdale's such a beautiful place. I've luckily had the pleasure of going there twice now. I can't do the dry heat, but again, I commend you for making the move, especially from a great place like Illinois. And again, thank you so much for coming on. So to get things started, Todd, Game Changers Corp. Let's explain that to people. I had a lot of questions leading up to the show. Explain what Game Changers Corp is and why you started it.
So Game Changers Corp started in 2012, and we started off as a political action committee. I just moved back to Chicago in November of 2011, and there was a Democratic primary that was going on March 20th. So a number of the candidates knew that I had a big network and that I could bring them some voters. And they asked me if I could help them with some fundraising. Well, I didn't know if I said yes to more than one person, I would have to form a political action committee. So I opened my big mouth and said yes to a number of people. And then I had to form a legal political action committee to elect Illinois Democratic. And basically what that platform did was give non-slated candidates a voice. Because the only people that were actually getting pressed up front were the slated candidates.
Wow.
In fact, on the March 20th election, 8 out of our 12 non-slated candidates were victorious, which is huge.
Wow,
so,
that's amazing.
What happened was that after learning a little bit about events during that election period, I started, since I had all the sports contacts, I decided to, do little sporting events, some fashion shows, etc.
Yeah.
But so it started in 2012. But Game Changers today is a marketing, branding, and a production company. One of the things I say is we don't do production. We don't do events. We do production.
Right.
We don't do networking. We do executive connecting.
Ooh, I like that. Executive connecting. Yes.
Yeah. So, so there's so many people out there that put networking on their marquees, and it's really not. So we try to take it to a next level. Matter of fact, the thing that I get the most joy out of is when people come back and say they met some solid contact that feels really good way, and I hear that frequently, so I know I must be doing something right.
Yeah, you must be doing something right. This is why Game Changers is so big, right?
Well, game changers, well, number one, all glory goes to God.
Yes.
But game changers really is what it is, because when I started the brand, I instilled three core values.
Right.
Those were about culture. Those were about dealing with partners and clients who cared about their operational infrastructure, i.e., foundation, and then third, their relationship company. We're a relationship company, not a transactional company. Although we all have, we do accept money, but relationships come first. If you have the right relationships with the right people, everything works out on the back end.
I love that. If you have relationships with the right people, everything works out on the back. And that's so true. And I love that. The relationship part is so important. I mean, especially in the sports world, in the business world, it's everything, right? It's why we're able to do the jobs that we do. You with what you do with Game Changers Corp, with me as a broadcaster. So everyone asks, how are you able to get these guests on the show and meet all these great people? Relationships. It's one word, relationships, and really nurturing those relationships, making sure they're two-sided and, mutually beneficial to both parties. And I think that's what's amazing.
Exactly.
I think that's how we connected. This is why I've been so excited to work with Game Changers Corp and the great things that you do. And you guys, Todd is pretty cool. A lot of the people I've had on my great show, I mean, Todd has worked with, we've had Lee Steinberg, Christian Okoye, Mark Rippon, who was, of course, the last guest on this show. I think what you do is just phenomenal. So when you're working with these big names and these big brands, Todd, I mean, what's going through your mind? What are you exactly trying to help them to do?
Really, one of the things that I try to identify with all of my partners is find out where there's a need.
Right.
In the past, I used to say, this is what I'd like to do for you, but sometimes it wasn't doing a need. So, matter of fact, Modern Luxury Magazine did an article on me. They named me one of the power players of Chicago.
Amazing.
What I said was a power player. What is a power player? A power player is not someone who has the power. A power player is who knows who has the power and identifying a need that you can fulfill, and you can do it on a relationship basis without charge.
Right.
To build a relationship with that individual. So I'm really trying to understand where I can fill a need. So rather than try to fix someone's broken toe, I'm trying to sew up the artery.
Yeah, and I love
really making some type of difference.
Amazing. I love what you said, a power player, someone who can identify who has the power. I think that's so strong. And to do what you're doing in a city like Chicago, a huge city, I mean, and to be identified as one of the truly best and brightest, that's huge. And again, I think it speaks to what you do. And I think also something so important about what you do, you're also a man of faith. And I think your faith has obviously carried you just a long way. And as we kind of talk about faith, and we know how political everything is in this country currently, how does that faith kind of drive you and propel you to be a leader in both the business and sports world?
Well, probably not only in the sports world, but in all verticals. But I would say when you're a leader and you are very, very staunch on your faith, sometimes you are alone. So, really those periods where leaders are alone and, and they're not following the masses, that's the period where faith gets me through, to not succumb to the loneliness, to want to go out and be codependent, and get into some group or something like that. So it's really helped me as a leader in my alone time, and of course my alone time is with God. But But yeah, that's what it's helped me through those periods of loneliness.
Yeah. And I think it's so strong. And I think faith is what helps propel us, and no better days are always ahead, especially in the time in a country like now. There's just so much just hurt. I think there's so much division. And what you're doing is still bringing people together. And I think it's needed now more than ever. I think this is why Game Changers has continued to just be a power player in the field. But I know it couldn't have been easy for you, right? I think, starting a company like Game Changers. I mean, Todd, when you were little, is this what you dreamed about doing? I mean, how did this really start? Talk about the early beginnings.
Well, I think the beginning really happened. My mother's second husband, who she's not too partial to.
Yeah.
But, he was an IBM executive. I think a lot of things during our childhood lulled us into who we are as adults. But back in I'm dating myself, but back in the 70s and 80s, IBM, the running joke was IBM doesn't stand for International Business Machines. It stands for IBM Move.
Oh, I've been moved. Yeah.
So I was born in Chicago, but he was relocated to Waltham, Mass, and we lived in Lexington, Mass.
Yeah.
Then he was relocated to White Plains, New York, and lived in Rye, New York, which is right on the Greenwich, Connecticut border.
Right.
So that exposure to those cities really opened my eyes. I really think that people need to go out and travel. I think that young adults, send their high school students or their college students,
right,
abroad, because they say that young adults who have traveled abroad, it has a direct correlation with leadership, because it gives them a bigger perspective of what's really going on rather than reading a book. So I would say that the thing that really motivated to get to Game Changers was my mother's second was on the traveling. So I wasn't an Army brat, I was an IBM brat. But it forced me, but it was easy too, because I was a great basketball player and football player. So when I got to the school in Boston / Lexington or New York, I fit in with the jocks really fast.
Yeah. Very nice. And I mean, sports has always helped, but I love what you said about the importance of traveling. When you've seen the world, this gives you a greater perspective on things. I'm lucky to have had the privilege when I was younger to actually get to travel, and, it just opens your mind. It opens your perspectives. It opens your learnings. And I think it helps us understand each other better. So I love that you have that. And since we're talking about Chicago, I might as well ask you, one of the things that kept us busy this summer, Todd, when we didn't have sports, of course, was The Last Dance. I'm talking about Michael Jordan. Just what were your overall thoughts on The Last Dance? Did it do justice to MJ and what we know about MJ, Todd?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, me and one of my business partners, we actually bought 2 tickets as soon as they drafted Michael.
Oh, my gosh.
And we had 4th row from the floor.
Oh, so very close to Michael.
Right, 4th row from the floor.
Yeah.
So, and then, that's expensive, because you're talking about 72 games, you're talking about 36 home games in the playoffs. So what we did was we bought them. We actually split it among 4 of us. But so we got to see MJ from the 4th row every single year.
What a privilege. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
But before Michael Jordan, you could sit on the bench if you had $100.
No one was rushing there, right, before MJ. Right. But then MJ comes, everything changes. Everybody wants to be at those games, which I think is truly just, it talks about his power and his significance. And even now, even for us that didn't get to watch MJ live in person because we were babies, are not born yet, we all know the greatness. Like, MJ is that standard. You want to be like Mike, right? People want to be like Mike in sports. Maybe it's in the business world. You want to be like Mike. You want to be the greatest. I think it talks about just his influence and what he did for the city of Chicago. For that Bulls franchise that we all so much love now because of MJ. It's just truly incredible. And then also talking about that, we also just had the 2020 NBA draft lottery. Chicago got the 4th pick, which hopefully they'll do something right with. But I think, Todd, we want to see the Bulls go back to greatness. Do you think we'll see that anytime soon? Do you think we'll see this bull? I'm trying to be positive.
No, I mean, they've got to, first of all, they got rid of the coach.
Yeah.
Which was a good move. But I don't really see the type of talent that we see coming out, in the colleges that we used to see in the old days, You don't see the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Michael Jordans, the James Worthies, the Magic Johnsons. There's really a lot of them, like after the first pick, sometimes the first pick is, who is this guy? I've never heard of him. He scored 19.1 for whatever college. But I think when talking about Chicago, the Bulls, the owner of the Chicago Bulls, Jerry Krause, is also the owner of the Chicago White Sox. And the Chicago White Sox is actually his passion. Don't quote me on this, but I think he traded 3 of the Bulls championships for another White Sox championship. So his passion, although he loves basketball, his passion is the baseball. So that's kind of where his focus is. So I don't really know if they lucked out with Jordan, because then all you have to do is put the pieces around him.
Yeah, having Jordan was, Christmas come early, right? I mean, with what MJ was able to do was just truly, truly, truly remarkable and incredible. And again, this is why we hold that Bulls franchise up so high. We want them to get back to that greatness because we know what MJ has done for them. But as of late, it's been hard, right? The Bulls have had hard times. You talked about now they're out of a coach. Of course, we'll see who they end up hiring, but they're trying to get back to those glory days. Chicago wants it. Chicago needs it. I think it's a city that's just saying we need our team to just get back to that. I think what it could do for the city of Chicago too would just be something special, right? There's nothing like winning a championship. I know what it's done here in DC. Like, we're calling ourselves the districts of champions because we've had some great championship teams here, and it brings us together. I think that's what has been the great power of sports. And so I had to get your thoughts on that as a native of Chicago. And just any other favorite Chicago sports memories, Todd, when you were growing up?
Well, I was there for the 85 years. So,
you were spoiled.
Tickets. So I was at both the New York Giants playoff game and Los Angeles Rams back then. You don't know where the Rams were. But I was at both those games. They were like 20 below zero, and no one was cold. It was 20 below zero, and no one was cold.
But you were watching that game,
Just watching the game. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We used to put, in that stadium, because in Chicago, it's right off the lakefront. We would put one of the tricks to keep your feet warm would be to put pepper in a sandwich bag or like a plastic bag. And then put it on your foot, and then put your sock on. So.
Wow. Pepper in a sandwich bag would keep. Who would have ever known that? I might have to steal that trick.
I know.
Have sports back and get on the sidelines. I think it's just, what a special team to watch. Truly considered one of the greatest teams of all time. And you got to watch that, in its prime and its history, I think is truly, truly, truly amazing. And again, it talks to what a great sports city that Chicago is and still is. I think they can get back to those glory days. They just need a little love. They just need a little patience and time. And I think it will come back to them. But again, Todd, the fact that you took your sports memories and turned those into a corporation now where you connect so many. Me and Todd got to connect at the Super Bowl 2 years ago in Atlanta. And of course, it's crazy just to think now that, Todd, who even knows if we'll be able to go down to the Super Bowl. I'm kind of sad about that, but we're hoping that COVID obviously prepares for that. But let's talk about networking in the age of COVID-19. It's different now. Many people are doing what we're doing right now, Todd, and you're doing screen time, you're doing Zoom calls, you're doing whatever. Talk about just the importance now of networking and connecting with COVID-19, since we don't know when this is going to end. How are you still able to navigate and, make these valuable, meaningful relationships with people? What advice would you have?
I think that you can use COVID to your advantage from the standpoint of right now, a lot of people are so busy when COVID wasn't going on.
Yeah, right.
Now they can't do as much because they're restricted. So because they're restricted and they can't be busy, I see a lot of people right now taking an interest into their foundation, addressing the a substandard infrastructure of the foundation.
Yeah.
Because now they have time. You know, everyone was out there building, but no one was investing anything into their infrastructure or their foundation, which is huge. Foundation and infrastructure is everything. So I see the positive of the COVID happening. I see it slowing people down to start addressing their foundation, i.e., the fundamentals. So making sure that all T's are crossed, all I's are dotted, all your operations are straight, all your licenses, just getting all the paperwork. I think right now people are in a stage of getting prepared, so when the gates do open back up, they have better position.
Right.
So from a let's say from a executive connecting standpoint, not a networking standpoint, like for example here, this show is great. I think this is content is everything. So this is great content.
Right.
Documentation beats conversation. So that's one of the things that I did have at the changes. I have this broadcast. I have 50 written recommendations on LinkedIn. One is from you.
Yeah.
I have, which is huge. I've never seen anyone with 50 written recommendations, and I have some more coming down the pipe as well.
Amazing.
And then the Modern Luxury magazine article. Also the promotional video that was done by a couple friends of mine up in Buffalo Grove. So, but just making sure that taking advantage and trying to build content during this slow period.
Yeah, content is the name of the game. I know me and you have talked about this, Todd. I feel like I've been on a good amount of shows talking about how I've been able to navigate COVID, but COVID-19 happened. Content still has to come out. I still am a sports reporter. I still have a job to do. So I still needed to produce content. And so it's been so great to connect with people. I'm so thankful that all of you all continue to listen and support this show. And again, I think that's what it is. I think sometimes the hard times hit. COVID-19 was a hard time. It's adversity, but how do you come out of that adversity? I think that's what helps define us. That's what helps people. I think when people know that you can do well in an atmosphere of controlled chaos, they're going to be more drawn to you. And that's what's happening now. And again, you still have a job to do. You still have to get out there. People still have stories to tell. And I think now probably even more powerful stories because we're all navigating COVID-19 together. We see what's happening in this country. It's an election year, right? So there's so many different viewpoints and everything that you can tie into these stories. So I appreciate you touching on that. And just as we continue to talk, Todd, I mean, when we say Todd Schweich, right, we're talking about all that you've done, but let's talk about just truly who you are. When people say your name, what do you want them to remember most?
I didn't hear the question.
When people say your name, Todd Schweich, what do you want them to remember most about you, right? We've talked about all that you've done, but what do you want them to take away from just truly who you are?
I would say hard work. I work so hard. Sometimes when I do get a breakthrough, I actually cry. I cry with joy. I actually really cry because I put so much work into it. You know what I mean? That when I see it come to fruition, you know, it does bring tears to my eyes. That's how hard I work. And I would also say that I'm a man of faith. I think that's very important. You know, there are a couple things that I believe in, and I stick to them that are not common practice. So I just say man of faith. But I think the main thing is too though is that that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm very, very. A lot of people think that I'm very, very bold. I am bold, but they think that I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'm actually very, very introspective, and I'm constantly looking at what behaviors that I need to address in order to make myself a more effective human being, especially a disciple of God. Is, you know, what do I need to change? You know, there's always some growing to do, and I've never at any point ever thought I've arrived. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I wonder if I even have a self-worth problem because, you know, sometimes people say, man, I saw Game Changers in Denver,
Right.
I didn't know it was there, but, obviously it's there, but I guess I don't know how big Game Changers is. Maybe that's good. It keeps me humble. It keeps me hungry.
Yeah, I love that. It keeps you hungry. And I think that's where our stories kind of coincide and mesh, Todd. I feel the way you felt about Game Changers is exactly how I feel about my show. It's just been my baby. I've nurtured it. I've put everything into it. And just to see the success that it's been reaching, I pinch myself sometimes, because when you've had all the odds stacked against you, when you tried something new and you didn't know if it was going to work, to see that it's working and that people support it, there's truly no greater or more special feeling. And you remember all those, who did believe with you and did, watch that success grow. So hearing you say that, it really warms my heart. It brings tears to my eyes, though I'm not trying to cry. But it's a really special story. And I really appreciate you touching on that and pointing that out. And again, Todd, I think you have such an amazing story for those that want to be Todd Schweich. They want to start their own company. They want to follow their passions. How does one start? How does one get into the business industry, make connections? How can they be like you? What advice would you recommend?
What I would recommend is getting into a corporation that first started off with a corporation that has a good training program. Because my first job, I was blessed.
Yeah.
Because of my stepfather, my first job out of college was with IBM.
Amazing.
They did such a number on me, Kelsey, that
Yeah.
today I have like 20 starched white shirts in my closet.
Wow.
I want to step out on the wild side of the power blue. But just that corporate etiquette that carries over into the entrepreneurial world of the dress code. When you see me out, you don't see me with a burgundy suit on.
Right.
With either navy blue, gray, white shirt, just standard uniform. So
right.
I would say start off with a corporation that has a good training program.
Yeah.
That teach you everything from product selling to different fundamentals, corporate etiquette.
Right.
So that's where I hold my that kind of paved the way. That laid the foundation for Game Changers. And that training, because back then IBM, Xerox, and HP were the top 3 training programs in the country. Matter of fact, you didn't even start selling. I was an IBM rep. You didn't start selling until after your first year.
Wow.
They sent a bunch of 22-year-olds, a group of us from all over the United States, to Sandy Springs, Georgia, for like a year-long training. So, that was like Animal House still too. 20, come on, like 22-year-olds.
Yeah, you're so young. Yeah. Wow. And I love what you said earlier, IBM, I've been moved. I think that's, wow, just so powerful and a different way to look at the business. And Todd, I have to just thank you for your time speaking with me. Keep up the great work. We're always rooting for you here with this show. And before I let you go, just anywhere where people can find Game Changers Corp, find out more information and get in contact with you.
Just look up Game Changers Corp. The Corp is the distinguisher. The CORP. A lot of people have tried to do spin-offs of our company, but that's what we use as the distinguisher, is the Corp. But also, Kelsey, one of the things is that if you've never been to North Scottsdale, it is paradise. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. All the golf courses and things.
I plan on doing is taking Game Changers. I'm not complacent about Game Changers brand. I want to take it to another level, just like you have taken your
exactly.
You continue to do so.
We're leveling up.
But the next thing we have would probably be at a golf, the Boulders Resort, or like some type of golf outing, but put some other spins on it as well.
Yeah, I love that.
It's beautiful. Everyone would have their own casita. Just top shelf. I moved here not only for the weather, but I actually moved out here for the mindset, because there are a lot of well-to-do people, and like one of the things is I tell people that if you're the smartest person in the class, it's time to change classrooms. So not to downplay who I am, but I put myself in an environment where I'm kind of like a peasant from a financial, let's say from a financial perspective. So there's only one way but up, as well as learning from them as well.
I love that. I love that. Like you said, if you're the smartest person in the classroom, you probably do need to change classrooms, right? You need to be learning from those. And I think I'll take that from you. Like you said, Scottsdale's such a beautiful place. I look forward to the golf outing. I definitely need to practice my stroke and a lot more because I'm as far on the bottom of the worst person for golf.
Sean Clark.
Sean, if you're out there, I need some help with my golf game. I could truly use it. But Todd, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing your inspirational story. Keep up the amazing work. Again, we are constantly rooting for you, and we hope you will not be a stranger to this show.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming on. Until next time, this is Todd Schweich. Thank you again for joining, Todd. Have a great one. Thanks. Bye. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for this special edition of Listen In with KNN, presented by Fox Sports Radio. I'm, of course, your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. We'll be back next Thursday. I'm excited because I'm welcoming in a fellow Terp to the show, a former Maryland football player. You'll have to go to my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com, to find out who that is. And also, we'll be talking some basketball with somebody from the NBPA. Football, basketball, I'm bringing them to you both next week on a special platter. So be sure to tune in. Thursdays at 6 p.m., Saturdays at 2 p.m. We take no breaks on this show, and we have an exciting rest of August, rest of September lineup. There's also going to be another wrestler coming on the show. I won't drop his name, but to the wrestling fans, you want to be sure to follow my website and find out who that is. And who knows, maybe we'll be giving out a belt. Lots of exciting times coming on Listen In with KNN. Again, thank you so much for joining me and supporting the show. Could not do it without you. Special thank you to my team. You all are truly amazing. Thank you for working so hard this summer. We're going to continue to bring you all the content. If you like something on the show, be sure to go to social media, #ListenIn with KNN or #LIWKNN. Lots more in store. And as always, thanks so much for joining. Until next week, enjoy the sports world, smile, and please don't take your fantasy sports too seriously because there's always another play. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Wear your face mask, guys. Bye-bye.
Follow Kelsey on social media @TheRealKNelson and catch each broadcast of Listen In with KNN on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this special live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.